So, I woke up this morning to some fascinating news. I wish I could say exciting because I am excited for it, but the news itself was almost anticlimactic.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, this morning, there's been lots of leaks about the Switch 2 lately. So, I guess to get sort of on top of that a little bit, Nintendo released like their first look at their first trailer for the Nintendo Switch 2. And all it really was like, yeah, this is what it looks like. And don't get me wrong, it looks cool. It basically looks like a Switch, slightly bigger, like a nicer shape. Looks like it's been reported to use magnets instead of like a click-in thing to hold the Joy Cons, but they didn't actually say anything on the trailer. They just basically showed a Switch turning into a Switch 2, had a bit of a look at it. Unless I had the sound off and didn't realize, but there was no talking. It was just, hey, this is Switch 2, this is what it looks like. And then they were like, we will announce more later. So people have been like, oh, it's probably going to come out March, whatever. It looks like, so there's going to be another announcement, like another Nintendo Direct, as they say, on in April. They didn't give a date. They just said April 2025. My friend seems to think it was the first or the second or something like that. Uh, I don't remember where I got that from now, but I've just got April written down as the thing. And then when I was looking through the official Nintendo website just to see if there was anything extra I could mention about it that we don't already know, which is basically just it's more powerful and it's a bit bigger and it's the Switch 2. There's going to be some hands-on events all around the world starting in April 4th to 6th. So I guess that's where maybe he got the date from. So maybe they'll announce it somewhere between more details between the first and the third, and then start doing the hands-on thing. And then there's going to be a hands-on in Melbourne from May 10th to May 11th.
So,
Yeah, you go.
so hands-on, does that mean that they're going to have some available for people to actually like pick up and hold and have a look at?
Yeah, have you ever been to I guess like an expo or anything?
Oh, to be honest, no, not for gaming anyway.
Okay, well, when I used to work for a certain big company, every year they'd put on like the Australia's version of E3 Expo, and we got the pleasure of going down to help set up. We did get like other benefits, but anyway, the point just being is that they would just have like stations set up and it would like show off like the latest games from Ubisoft and whoever, and you could just like stand there. Like I remember when you used to go to like EB or Harvey Norman or whatever, and they'd just have a console set up and you could just like play the latest game just to test it out.
Yeah, yep.
I imagine it'll be something like that. It'll either be a closed event to only like press or certain people, or maybe you have to pay for it. Um, sorry, or you'll have to pay tickets, like pay for a ticket to go to the event, and it'll you might get like 20 minutes with it, and it'll just be attached to something. You get to see what it is and how it plays and all that. It's exciting, but
Yeah.
like I said, just a little bit anticlimactic because like I woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, Switch 2 announcement, and then all like it's literally like a 2 minute or so clip just showing what it looks like. I was like, a little anticlimactic, but at least it gives us a bit more of a window as well because, like I said, a lot of analysts and specialists, as they call it, were saying like, oh, it's probably going to come out about March or whatever, maybe May,
Okay.
maybe April, sorry. But the way things are looking, considering that the hands-on events, I'm looking at the list here. The latest one I can see is in June. I would say it's more likely going to be a November, early December release, ready for Christmas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense, normally, but Nintendo tend to release their consoles earlier in the year, which is just a little bit unusual for them, but nothing like, it's not crazy unusual, it's just unusual from what they normally do.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, if they do get some more like stuff happening in April, then like how long after that will they then start getting some more information out there and actually get a release date going?
Well, from the sounds of it, the April announcement thing, so like E3 doesn't really exist anymore. PlayStation, Sony, God, PlayStation, Nintendo, and that they all do their own like online announcement things now because in this day and age, why not?
Okay.
So their next like Nintendo have direct, what they call directs all through the year, and it'll be like, oh, this is the new games coming out, or this is the indie direct, or whatever. This one will be obviously the Switch 2 direct, and I imagine they'll announce the release date, probably a price, and then they'll probably show off launch titles and probably extra features that the Switch one doesn't have. I imagine they'll leave a few things for a bit of a surprise closer to the date. But basically, graphics or potential graphics, any extra, like any really big extra features that it'll have, and price and release date.
Okay. So you reckon that'll all be in that direct around April?
That's my best guess. Yeah.
Okay.
See, if it was like Sony or Microsoft or something, I'd be like, 100% sure that's how they're going to do it. But considering it's Nintendo and Nintendo just do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, they don't really play by the rules, do they? They just do their own thing.
No, they do not. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, hey, this is the next announcement. And this announcement is, we'll be announcing more in September.
We announce that there will be an announcement.
Basically. Like they literally did that previously. There was a direct late last year, and at the very start, they were like, there will be no Switch 2 news in this direct. Like, do not expect it. We will announce later when a Switch 2 direct will be ready. I'd love to say that I'm down with how they do it, but the only way that I'm down with it is the fact that I know that I'm not down, because they didn't even announce this with any fanfare. Like literally, my good mate just happened to be on X. I hate calling it that. Just looking through his feed or something, and it just happened to pop up. Like, there was no like Facebook, YouTube, like, hey, or like, you know what I mean? There was no like big announcement. It's just like, hey, here's the thing. And I'm assuming they only did it because there's been so many leaks lately, and how it looks is pretty much how the leaks looked. Like there's a few differences, but barely.
Okay. So yeah, maybe they were sort of under pressure then to just try and get something out for the meantime.
I wouldn't even say under pressure. I would just say that they were like, fuck it. They already pretty much know how it looks. Let's just show it to them, but we still won't tell them anything about it. Like,
cool.
There's a bunch of patents and rumors and blah 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 of what it can and can't do. It's meant to be similar, or like somewhere in between the PS4 and PS5 with graphics. The Switch one was kind of like somewhere between the Xbox 360 or the PS3 and the PS4. But as we know, or as I know, maybe you're not as fully aware, Nintendo for a long time have never been as much about like graphical power. They're about like gameplay and stuff.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that.
Like, a lot of games, especially their first party games, hold up the test of time just because they choose like artistic style and gameplay over the graphics, which means like, for example, I went back and played Doom 3 a little while ago, and it looked amazing at the time. And it still looks good now, but it's very dated because it's like, it uses certain style of graphics that like comes from a certain time and it's very obvious. But like in 20 years, you could play Zelda Breath of the Wild and you'd be like, I know it's a Switch game, but like it could be from almost any era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I do like some of their graphics, like with say like some of the Zelda games and stuff, because yeah, they will age well.
Oh yeah, and they're not bad graphics at all. You just have to look at indie games on Steam to know that graphics don't make the game.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
when
I love Stardew Valley, and it is basic as
uh,
fuck.
absolutely, I've now got it on PC, PlayStation, and Switch.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I love it too. It's great. I will platinum it one day, even though it just takes so fucking long. But I do love the game. Um, and it's funny that you say how much you like the Switch graphics, considering you don't ever seem to play one. But, I'm not going to bring that up.
Yeah, that's a story for another day.
You should start. You should start playing it on the train on the way home from work and stuff.
Yeah, I like that sounds good, but the amount of crap that I have to take to work, like I have to take a laptop, like mouse, headset, if I want to take lunch, water bottle, all that stuff, it fills up the backpack pretty fucking quickly.
It just sounds like more excuses to me. I don't know.
But yeah, I'll have a think about that and see if. So
Like,
that is a good idea.
I mean, that's kind of what it's designed for, right? Like gaming on the go, and
Yeah,
it's all the Switch One's more powerful in the dock. Like I think on the handheld it's only 720, but in dock it goes to 1080p. And I imagine the Switch 2 will probably be the same. It'll probably be like, oh, it's 180 handheld and 4K docked or something. Like, but like when you're playing 720p on a tiny screen, you don't notice it. Like I've still got my PS Vita, which I think is 720 max. But when you're playing it, half the games are like, oh, I might as well just be playing a PS4 right now. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't like the smaller resolution on a smaller screen is fine. If you were playing 720 on like a big 55-inch TV, you'd notice it.
yeah, okay. No, that makes sense.
Mostly what I'm just saying is play the goddamn Switch, play the games,
Yeah,
enjoy it. Enjoy the damn thing.
yes, I do need to actually get a case so I can take it
Ooh, I might have a spare
away.
one. I might have a spare one actually. I'll have a look if I remember later.
Okay.
And just quick question before we move on to the next topic here. Did I give you back LA Noir, or is it still here somewhere?
Oh, I'll have to actually.
Double check that.
Yeah, I'll have to check that because that is one game that I'd like to play.
I ended up just biting the bullet and getting it on the PS4 or 5 because I'm like, I just want that goddamn platinum trophy. I just want it. I want the damn trophy. It'll be a bit of a grind, but it's out of all the Rockstar games, it's one of the easiest to get. So I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look at that one.
Awesome. Now the next question is:
Yes.
have you seen Nope yet? I know we talked. I'm pretty sure we touched on it last episode, and if we didn't, we spoke about it in person. But have you had a chance to see it yet?
Nope. I have
Oh,
not.
I see what you did there.
No, I haven't actually. So it's not on any streaming services I have access to. We have been trying to work out something I know so I can actually watch it because you have it.
I do have the Blu-ray.
Yes.
I'm just very, very hesitant to let it leave my proximity because it is a favorite of mine. But no,
Okay.
I'll get it to you, or we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I swear it's. I know I watched it on like Netflix or something, but obviously they took it off.
Yeah, because I know you said that to me a while ago, and I went through and checked that and like Amazon and Disney and stuff like that, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Wasn't showing up when I googled it as well.
Ah, that's unfortunate. Oh
Yeah.
well, it's a good one. And speaking of movies, you mentioned I already knew, but I forgot. But you mentioned about the Until Dawn movie.
Yeah, so I actually saw what I think was actually part of the trailer just before we started recording. Um,
I did see that they had released something, but I haven't watched it yet. I'm kind of
yeah,
like I'm in two minds about watching it because I don't know if you've played the game or not, but I've played the game,
I haven't
and
played it, but I've watched a lot of gameplay, so I know like the storyline,
yeah,
um, how the game works, with like choices and stuff like that. And
yeah.
yeah, so I am interested. I might actually go looking for the full trailer after we wrap up today, but
I
I think
don't
it's yeah.
I don't know if they'll have a full trailer because it's one of those weird ones where like so it's coming out in like June and like pretty much no one knew about it or like officially knew about it until a couple of months ago, and they're like, oh yeah, it's being
Oh,
made, and then now it's like, oh, it's going to be out soon, and everyone's just kind of like,
why has
what?
that been so sort of secretive? That's interesting.
Usually I would say to prevent leaks, but I think it's just more so like after Borderlands and a few other movies lately that are based around games and comics, they're probably just like, yeah, let's just keep it under wraps until we know what we've got, kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. So from what I'm reading, it's Sony doing this one. So
Oh god, I'm out.
I know I'm like, please, Sony, please.
It's so annoying though because like if you go through Sony Core Pictures catalog on the PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
You get a free subscription to it, which only includes 100 movies out of however many movies. So it's basically Amazon Prime. You can go on, rent, buy, whatever. But with the PlayStation Plus subscription, you get access to like 100 movies. My point is, you go through their catalog and you're like, that's a great movie. That's a great movie. That's a great movie. That's a great movie. And then you hold up your picture. You hold up your picture of Madam Web and go, why doesn't mine look anything like that?
Yeah.
Like they know how to make a good movie. It's just for some reason when it comes to like comics and video games and superheroes, they just I wouldn't say they dropped the ball completely because most of the Spider-Man movies are good. The Venom movies were decent, but yeah, they just I don't know.
Mm,
They don't trust the directors, maybe, or there's
that's,
something going on with it. I can't.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure either, but there has to be like a reason why this happens. Um, so
It's
yeah,
it's kind of funny because it almost definitely happens because they want to make more money, but then they end up not making the money because they screw around with it too much. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, they gotta just want to like smack their hand and be like, no, stop it. Um,
Maybe we can send in like Dog the Bounty Hunter or something, and just like just scare them up a little bit.
now that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Holy shit.
Look, if you're a fan of mullets, which I am, there's no way Dog the Bounty Hunter leaves your mind. Um,
Mm,
I have an NFL fantasy league, and we switched. So like we used to be on the official NFL.com one, and then we switched to like another app or whatever.
yeah.
And when we switched to the other app, I can't remember if it was the first year or the second year, but either way, I switched my profile picture to Van Damme in Hard Target because Lord knows that's one of the best mullets you'll ever see. And then I
Nice.
and then I won our fantasy league Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
This year I didn't do so well, so I'm thinking maybe it's time for Van Damme to go. It's like now what mullet do I need? Like what's the next mullet to help get me across the line? And now that we're talking, I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be Dog the Bounty Hunter, or maybe like a Texas Walker Chuck Norris or something.
Oh, yeah. Or even oh my god, I've totally forgotten his name now. The The guy with the tigers.
Oh, yeah, the Tiger King. I can't think of his actual name.
Tiger King.
Joe something.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, Joe Exotic was his name.
Joe Exotic. Okay, cool.
Yeah, he might be the next one, but also I don't know. I don't know if, as much as he's entertained me over the years, I don't know if I can back him. I don't know if I can back him as a person.
That's fair enough. Yeah, he's totally different vibe to Dog and what's his face?
I wonder what Dog's like. Like, he seems so dodgy, but like,
yeah, true.
I
I
don't
think
know.
I'm quickly going to look this up because I have a feeling he ended up in trouble with the law at some point.
No way. A man from presumably Florida with a mullet that chases criminals and isn't a police officer got in trouble with the law? You must be kidding me.
No, I am being fully honest, and I think I just found it.
Give me the goss. Give me all the hot deets.
Come on, Wiki, take me to the good parts.
All right. Well, while Potato's looking for that, we're gonna play the intro music, and when we come back, she'll give us the answer we're looking for, and we're gonna start explaining why 17 days into the year I've still only seen 4 movies out of
shame.
Out of the 365 and I'm watching. Let's just say I've got a few weekends of catch up to play here.
Cool.
Almost a jibble sandwich.
All right, welcome back to the Dirty Taters podcast. Just in case you weren't sure what you were listening to, the most important question that we're going to come back to is, what the hell did Dog do?
Okay, so it's actually old news. I thought it was something that he did after he was a bounty hunter, but it was actually beforehand. So,
man, you get my hopes up. Then you tell me this bullshit. What the hell? So basically, he did some illegal shit.
Yeah, so he was. Yep.
I was gonna say, did some illegal shit, got through it, or whatever, and then became a bounty hunter.
Yeah, pretty much. So he was actually convicted of third-degree murder in the 1970s.
Third degree? What's that? He was watching it?
Served 18 months in prison before being paroled. I think pretty much he was in the car with someone. They rocked up to an address. The other person from the car got out, went into the house, killed someone, came back out, they left, and then he was sort of like roped into the charges. So
more like accessory to murder kind of thing.
Yeah.
So technically I was right. He was just watching. He was just like, oh, yeah, my mate's over there killing someone. Nice.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're not wrong, actually. And then, yeah, apparently he... what does it say? He recommitted to his faith while serving his sentence. So he found Jeebus.
Don't we all? I mean, not to be racist, but I'm sure he went to prison in the southern states, so of course he found some kind of Jesus in there.
I bet he did.
Anyone who was offended by that, I take it back. I cannot pass up the opportunity for a good religious joke. It just also happened to sound slightly racist. Yeah, well, look, that was almost as anticlimactic as the Switch announcement. So I don't know how to treat you on this one.
I'm sorry, you're just getting disappointed left, right, and center right now.
It's just, just when you think 2024 was bad, we start 2025, and here we are. Just, oh my god.
Yeah.
But let's get back to another topic at hand that is actually my failing as a person. So,
Oh.
so once again, as of recording, this is day 17 of the year of our Jesus 2025, and I have still only watched 4 movies to full completion. Now, I've been watching some other stuff. I've watched a couple of series, and I've started rewatching The Walking Dead, and it led me to think, like, how. Obviously, I want to watch a lot of movies I haven't seen, but you don't always have access to, like, you know what I mean? There's not always movies you haven't seen, but there's definitely movies you haven't seen for years. And it's like,
Yeah.
how long should I allow? Like, is a year too soon? Is 6 months enough of time to have gone by? It does have to be
Yeah.
10 years. Like, I haven't quite figured it out yet, but
You'll have to make a call soon, I think, especially if you're going to be catching up on all of these movies.
well, the good thing is I finally bit the bullet and got a Netflix account again. So I went through last night, the night before, and like bookmarked a whole bunch of movies that I haven't seen, so I can just go through my list kind of like one by one and tick them off. So like maybe over the weekend or the next day, I have fully like, you know, where I've got absolutely nothing to do during the day. I'll watch maybe a couple back to back and kind of play catch up. But then I was also thinking, should series count? But then I'm like, that's a bit too easy because, like, you know, especially like, for example, if I watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, there's like 20 episodes a season, 8 seasons. That's 100. You know, even if I just watch one episode a day, that's like a quarter of the year, a third of the year, or whatever done.
Yeah.
Half the year, whatever. I can't math today. Leave me alone. So even though I'll still watch the series, which at the moment I'm rewatching The Walking Dead because I stopped at about season 6, and I just want to finish it off. Yeah, I'm also going to get back onto the movies, and I was kind of hoping that there'd be a few movies at the cinemas to help me along, but I forgot it's school holiday period, which means it's nothing but not that those movies are bad in general. I just don't have any interest in seeing them at the cinema. So it's all like Moana, and I can't even think of the other ones. The new Mufasa movie. You know, it's all kids stuff except for Nosferatu and Wicked. And I wouldn't mind seeing Wicked, but it's not a movie I would go see on my own. And I think
Oh, you haven't seen that yet? I thought you had.
I was going to, but then just stuff happened and we ended up not seeing it. And then by the time we kind of had a chance to go see it, Nosferatu was out, and I was like, I want to see that way more than I want to see Wicked. So
yeah, okay, that's fair. Well, yeah, Wicked is definitely worth watching. I'd say for you, you will probably only maybe want to watch it the once, but yeah, it is really good.
Look, I do like musicals, but I like a certain type of musical. Like, I liked Sweeney Todd, the one with Johnny Depp. I just didn't realize that it was going to be basically nothing but songs.
Okay.
The movies that I like that are musicals are more ones like, you know, like Grease and Rocky Horror Picture Show. Ones, you know, basically Disney movies where it's like this plot, and then musical number.
Look, that's pretty much what Wicked is, I would say. Yeah,
I was under the impression that it was more songs than like
no,
like just not a lot of like talking in general. That's what I was under the impression anyway.
no, there's definitely talking. Like it might, like if you have a ratio of talking to singing, there's probably slightly more singing.
Which is okay. Like it's a musical, you'd expect that. But
yeah,
you know, I just need a break between the songs, no matter how good they are. Sometimes, like even in Sweeney Todd, I started to get a little bit bored, even though it was good, because I was just like, oh. And I don't want to see. Like I have no interest in watching Les Miserables because of the same thing. It's just start to end, song after song.
yeah, okay.
It's just not my style. Like the stories often interest me, but with my ADHD brain, like if there's like even one bad song in the bunch or one mediocre song in the bunch, I'm gonna be like that's it. My brain's turned off.
Okay.
Like a movie like Encanto, for example. Like, I mean, yes, there's a lot of plot and stuff, but like, I can't think of a bad song in the whole movie, or like a average song. Like they're all good to great. So it was
Okay.
able to keep my attention heaps. But other other movies, it's like yeah, once that average to below average song hits, that's me done. Like something really big or good has to happen after that to bring my attention back in. And
Yeah,
that's how
well, look, yeah.
you go. Sorry.
I was going to say, like, I feel like we've touched on this before, but all of the singing is amazing. And I think the only two songs I would think would be weaker, but they're not bad, is Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Yeoh. And that's it. And they're like, I think they only sing once each, maybe.
Well, see, Jeff Goldblum can do anything, and that's fun. It could literally just be him sitting there being like, hey, how do you like the movie? You liking it? Yeah. And I'd be like, yeah, this is the best part of the movie. And Michelle Yeoh, yeah, she's a great actress. I don't know what her singing's like, but I'm sure like sometimes a song can be like average, but the acting and the emotion behind it can be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and look, like I say, Jeff Goldblum's song isn't as good as some as the others. It's definitely not the worst, but yeah, his acting during that scene is top notch. So it definitely makes up for it.
Yeah, cool. And
Yeah.
like, you know, I have no like reservations about Ariana Grande. Like, you know, I'm not a look, I love all music and I like a lot of Ariana Grande songs, but the thing that impresses me the most about her is I watch things like her on the Tonight Show where they do the wheel of impersonations or whatever they call it, and she'll sing like I don't know, Mary Had a Little Lamb is like Celine Dion, and she can just get the vocal styles down. So like you know, no matter what she's singing or what style she's asked to sing, she seems to be able to do it well.
Okay, that's cool.
Adam Levine from Maroon 5 is another one. Like people think of him as like this, you know, poppy, high pitched sort of voice thing, but he can actually sing well normally as well. Like he literally chose the style of singing that he chose because when they were first sort of starting, their producer was like, "Hey, you know, like you're a great singer, but like, how about we try something that'll make you stand out more?" And that's when he came up with. I don't know if it was him, the producer, a mixture, whatever. I just know that that's when they came up with that sort of high pitched singing that he does in a lot of the songs. I don't think he does it as much these days, but definitely back in the Songs for Jane.
Yeah, I remember the first sort of bigger hits they had released. He like when you say high pitched, you're saying like he's singing in like a higher octave and can do like the higher notes.
Yeah. Like when I say high pitched, I don't mean like he's sounding like Mickey Mouse. I just mean like he's singing with I always forget like maybe a soprano tone. I can never remember which level is which. I always get them wrong.
But, yeah, okay. I'm not entirely sure either, but yeah.
But yeah, instead of singing like with his normal tone, like how we're talking now, whatever his normal voice is, he sings like say an octave higher or something, just to stand out. And
cool.
Interesting side fact: Nicolas Cage's voice that you hear in the movies isn't his voice. He talks like that for the exact same reason. He wanted to choose a vocal style, a voice that would make him stand out in movies.
Really?
100%. That is not how he sounds in real life.
Oh my god, all I want to do is hear what he actually sounds like now.
You can hear it a little bit in interviews sometimes because he doesn't put it on as much, but I think it's really ingrained in him now. But
Yeah.
if you watch, I think it's Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He just has like a little bit part as like a store clerk or like a cashier at like a fast food joint, and he just kind of talks normally in that. So that kind of gives you an idea of what he normally sounds like.
Okay. That is gonna make me. That's yeah. I'm gonna trip so hard when I watch that.
You'd be surprised how many people do it. Like I think even Christopher Walken to a degree. Like I think he does.
Okay.
I think he does talk like that relatively normally, but he's from Brooklyn. Like
Yeah. Okay.
he doesn't talk with a Brooklyn accent. He talks like maybe he learned how to act in that style. I can't think of what the style is, but like he's like, hey, I'm going to use this voice when I act. And you know, like he's a great actor anyway, but it's definitely memorable, you know. And if you watch if you watch some of his earlier movies like Deer Hunter and stuff, he still talks like that, but it's not as much. It's like the further he gets on his career the more like marketable it became, I guess.
Okay. Interesting. Wow, because you think it'd be hard enough to act, let alone then putting on like a different voice the whole time. Like that's just, yeah, that's pretty cool.
100% agree, but think about Tom Holland. He's British.
Yeah, true.
And when you hear him in interviews, he's fully British, but you watch Spider-Man and he's like American accent all the way. Some people can do it, some people can't. Like I know that if I was to have to put on, like, I mean, maybe with training I could do it because these guys get vocal coaches and stuff. But just as a general thing, if I had to speak another accent for like an entire movie or something, I know I would slip in and out. Like there's actors you see and you're like, like you know they're Australian. And it's like, oh, it's a pretty good accent, and they'll say like that one sentence where it's like, oh, going down to the shop, say, mate. And you're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. Oi, so that immediately makes me think of Carl Urban in The Boys. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah. He goes in and out of his New Zealand accent all the time. But like it's only certain phrases. When I say all the time, it's not like constant, but it's like certain phrases. It's like, that's the Kiwi right there.
But like, I'm just trying, because even like Spermy, like as, you know, sort of washed it as he's walked past kind of thing. He's always like, oh, like he's trying to be English, but you can tell he's Australian. And I'm like, wait, what actually, like for his character in the show, is he supposed to be English?
Yeah, he's British. In the show, he's British. Yeah. And in real life, he's actually New Zealander. So he's not Australian.
Not Australian, okay.
But close enough, you know, accent-wise, especially to other countries, close enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how much experience Spermy has with accents from all over England. I know he's got, you know, obviously a lot of experience, but I've heard some people with accents pretty close to the one he's got, but it definitely isn't consistent in the show. Like,
yeah,
so like, to maybe the average American / non like audience who doesn't hear an Australian or New Zealand accent all the time or British accent all the time, they can probably be like, oh yeah, that sounds British enough, or like whatever. But to someone who, you know, knows what it sounds like it's like, you know, sticks out like dog's balls.
Yeah, that's true. Like now thinking about it as well, like Spermy's family is from Greater Manchester, so he...
Isn't Manchester a bit more posh?
No, I think London is more posh. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Or like West London, I feel like. And then East London is more like the Cockney accent.
I thought Cockneys were more north. Anyway.
Possibly. It's around there somewhere.
I'm probably wrong. I don't know the English like areas that well. I know the sounds of them. I just don't remember 100% where they come from. I just had this feeling that Cockney was more north, like closer to Ireland.
No.
Scotland. Whichever one it is that's on the island, it's its own island, I think, so closer to Scotland. But obviously I'm incorrect there.
You're way off, my friend. No, Cockney is a part of like at least Greater London somewhere.
Right.
Then you've got like Liverpool. There's so many English accents. It's not funny, and I only know about this because my in-laws are English, so I hear about this stuff.
Yeah.
But
The only
yeah,
thing
it's
I
pretty
know
crazy.
about the only thing I know about a Liverpool accent is you can't understand a fuck they're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, pretty
it-
much.
There's a comedian. I really wish I could think of his name right in this moment, but he's on like Countdown, Cats Does Countdown, and Big Fat Quiz all the time. Kevin Bridges. And I don't know if he's Liverpoolian or if he's just like from more up north or something, but like half the time you can't understand what he's saying. And then sometimes he'll be on like Graham Norton or something with like Americans, and he'll be like, and they'll be like, sorry, what did you just say?
I'm like most of the English accents I've found I'm okay with, but Scottish and Irish, I've got no chance.
I'm
at
okay
all.
with Scottish and Irish as long as they don't start using their own language words,
Yeah, okay.
because I don't have any context. Because like they'll, it's like when you might hear like I don't know, like a Japanese person and they don't have a, or maybe even like Indian or something, and they don't have a word in their language for a thing, and so you'll hear blah 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 blah, blah iPhone blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
like to me, it's like the opposite. I'll be hearing the sentence like, "Hey, we're going down to the pub and then and then we're going to go up here," and I'm just like, "What the fuck was that word?" like I can't even get it by context.
Yeah, I think that's where I struggle with Scottish and Irish, especially if it's a really strong accent and they're drunk. Then no fucking way am I going to understand one word coming out of their mouths.
To be fair, any drunk accent, even my own, is usually pretty hard to fucking. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Man, can you believe that we've gone right off topic again? Well, actually, we haven't even gone off topic. We haven't even started the topic again. So the whole point of me bringing up the fact that I've only seen 4 movies is because I have one thing only to blame for that.
What's that?
Return to Bloody Moria, the Lord of the Rings game.
Yes.
I think you know all about it. I think we've been playing it a fair bit.
Yes.
So I wrote down a little timeline of how it kind of happened, right? So earlier in the year, maybe the end of last year, a bunch of games went on sale or whatever, and we picked up Pale and Ale Tavern. Return to Moria, I think, was a free game on Epic Games, and we picked up Generation Zero for like $7 or something like that. And we were playing Pale and Ale Tavern, and we're like, oh, this is pretty good. Let's just chuck Moria on for a bit, see how that goes, and then we'll give Generation Zero a go, and see which one we're kind of enjoying the most, and we'll stick with that one for a bit. And we played Pale and Ale, and it was fun. It's good. Definitely want to go back to it at some point. We went, okay, let's put on Return to Moria, and I think it's been about 3 weeks, and we haven't touched any other game, at least not jointly since.
No. Well, we did try and play Once Human the other night for like a couple of hours.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
For a friend's stream, but yeah, and that we haven't even gone back to that though either, because we're just like, we want to play Mario. So
Once Human was okay, especially for a free-to-play game, like MMO style free-to-play. It was like, it was pretty decent, pretty good. But like I said to the other day, I think, because I ended up giving Generation Zero a go.
Okay.
And like the only thing in it that you really craft is like ammo and maybe some like healing items. It's a bit more like, it's definitely not like playing Far Cry or something, but it's more like playing Far Cry where like you've got this map to explore, you're killing robots, exploring houses, finding things, and there's a story to do.
Yeah, okay.
So like I definitely want to play it with you in this story mode, because like again, you don't have to build bases and all that kind of stuff. You just kind of go around the map. It seems like there's safe houses. I only played it for about an hour, And it seems like there's like safe houses, and as you're exploring the map, you you save people, and then they end up at the safe house, and maybe they offer you things in the future, or maybe it's just like you're saving people from the robots or whatever the hell. But either way, it was just fun, and it was good to have a game that was fun to play, but I didn't have to I don't have to dig down like in Minecraft and get fucking resources so I can build a fucking railroad or something like that. You know what I mean? It was
okay.
fun to just have a game that I'm playing, has a little bit of crafting, and is also like, it reminds me of Once Human with the story, just because it's all like sort of futuristic robot-y kind of stuff.
Okay.
But that brings us back to Return to Moria. When we put that on, like I always thought, I was like, oh yeah, it'll be a fun game. Like, it can't be terrible. It seems okay. But almost from the moment we started, I was just like, it's definitely one of the games where it's like, oh, just do a little bit more, just do a little bit more, and then just one more thing, and then we'll just jump off.
Yeah, that's it. It's been so addictive that you've bought it on, or you've got it on your computer and you've got it on your PS5 as well.
Correct. So it was free for me on Epic Games, which is fine. But because I'm such a trophy nerd, it was either on sale. No, it was on sale. It was on sale for like $28 or something. It's only $40 anyway, but it was on sale for like $28, and I was just like, fuck it. When we can't play together, I'm gonna play it on the PlayStation just so I can unlock the trophies and stuff. And I know you get achievements and stuff on Epic Games and Steam and all that, but they're just not the same, okay? I don't give a shit about them. Like, if they unlock and I get them all, awesome. But if Nintendo ever gets its own trophy system, I will fucking be lost to the ether forever, because I'll be like it's bad enough that I'm trying to 100% all my first party games like Zelda and Xenoblade Chronicles and blah blah blah. But like, if there was trophies to go along with it, like who knows? Because like, trophies are sometimes like weird things, like kill a fucking dragon with nothing but thrown apples or something. Like, I'll be doing so much fucking crazy shit just to get those trophies. Like, there's so many things that I've done that I would never even cared about if it wasn't for trophies.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, or things like you'd never even think about doing either.
Exactly.
Like, okay, all right, 100%. I'll give that a go.
And that's one of the good things about trophies, because it like can sometimes lead you to like gameplay things that you didn't even know you could do. You're like, oh, I didn't know I could do that, and then it makes like something else easier because you you've got a new like angle to approach it from. But yeah, if like, I'm both glad and sad that Nintendo doesn't have trophies. They have some games that have like their own in-game achievements, like Xenoblade. One of the Xenoblade games has in-game achievements that I'll eventually unlock them all or whatever, but they don't have a platform-wide trophy list or thing to get trophies, or whatever Nintendo would call it, because it wouldn't be trophies. That's probably trademarked,
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, from the moment we dropped into, it's actually, I think the first area is actually called Westgate. You don't actually hit the Mines of Moria for a bit. There's a bit of exploring and crafting and stuff to do before that. But from the moment we hit there to finding our first little like, hey, this is how you set up a base, I think, which overall took us maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, just because we were probably quicker if we weren't like sort of exploring.
Yeah.
Like going like, oh, what's this? What's that? Yeah, like I've been hooked. Like, it's a great mixture of like Minecraft.
I'd say Valheim as well.
Yeah, Valheim, and like just any kind of game with a decent like story. I wouldn't say plot, but like there's so you can choose campaign mode or sandbox mode. So I'm assuming in sandbox mode it's pretty much the same, except that there's no like story missions to follow.
Yeah.
But the campaign mode, it just gives you a reason to do the stuff. So like maybe we'll finish the story and then go, hey, let's sandbox from time to time and do whatever. But like unlike Minecraft, you can't just dig out, you can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to dig down to the center of the earth and finish the game. Like you can only mine certain things with certain tools, and you've got to rebuild some things to make them work, and like other things you need to rebuild to get to other areas. And like it's a good mix of like all that typical survival crafting stuff, but also I wouldn't say Metroidvania, but like you get to a certain point and it's like, oh shit, I don't have the right tool to mine through this thing here. So now I've got to go looking for the right materials so I can have more fun, or not more fun. Yeah, fun, but like get to the next area.
Yeah, that's right. I guess for anyone not familiar with the game as well, so it's set in the Fourth Age. So that's after like the Lord of the Rings series happens and they defeat Sauron, and it follows Gimli and like a band of dwarves following him back to Moria to try and take back the mountain, and then you end up in a little cave in, and then that's where you start your exploration, really.
Yeah, so just to elaborate a little bit more on that, basically, as we know, the Mines of Moria were overtaken by the Balrogs and stuff years ago, and now that Sauron's gone and all that stuff, Gimli's like, hey, let's get it back. And when you create your character, you can literally choose between, I think there's like 4 major areas that the dwarves are now. So you can, and it doesn't seem to have any real effect on the game except for what your starting equipment is.
Yeah.
But it's, you can be like, oh, I'm the river dwarf, or
I think it's Blue Mountains.
Yeah, it's Blue Mountain, Red Mountain, something. I can't remember. I'm a Tolkien-ish fan. I'm not a super fan like some people would be. There's probably someone listening to this right now saying, these are the names, you idiot. These are the names.
There are some cool nods to the Fellowship though, as well in the game.
Oh yes. I found I think I found Gandalf's pipe the other day in my solo game.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we found like some cutlery from who was it?
I can't remember.
It was just Hobbit cutlery, I think.
Yeah, I think it was just from one of the first things you find. I'm pretty sure. So another thing about it is, so like, it's kind of Diablo-esque in the sense that like there's certain areas that are kind of like the little hub areas are the same every playthrough, but like my solo playthrough on the PS5, the dungeon layout thing is so different to the playthrough I'm doing with Potato. So like,
oh yeah,
you'll get to certain points and like, for example, I just came across like a lift or whatever that takes you deeper into the mines, and you have to find certain things. I believe you were the one I showed you the other day.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I found that super easy, and we haven't even come across it yet in our playthrough. But like that hub area, like the top area, will probably be the same in every game. But once you go through the lift, that's where everything will change. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like my version of we found a place called Orktown in our joint playthrough. We haven't actually explored it yet. We're getting. I think that's the next thing we're doing next time we jump on. But
yeah.
I explored it myself, and I'm sure as we go through it, even though the first little section of it will be the same, and the place where you fight the boss will be the same, the way to get there, I'm sure, will be like very different.
Okay.
So the good thing about it is, like, if you love the game enough, you want to play it again, you can't just be like, oh yeah, there's a fucking gold mine over here, and there's a super weapon over there, or whatever. Like every time you play through it, it's different. Like in our gameplay, there's those giant bell things that we've come across, like right in the first area, where it's like they
Yeah.
seem, and you need things that seem like late game, or at least like further than we are to repair them.
Yep.
But in my playthrough, I haven't seen any of them. Like I don't have
Really?
and I had a second. I found a secondary camp not too far away from the first initial camp that you get every time you start a game.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that is really different.
Yeah, so it'll be real fun in that sense because, like I said, if we finish it and go, "Hey, let's play again," or whatever, we go, "Hey, let's do some sandbox mode and like go real crazy with it." We're not just going to be like, "Oh yeah, we go here, we go there." Like that's the only bad thing with some like story line, like even the Breath of the Wild to a degree is a bit like that because like even though it's a little bit different every time you play, everything for the most part is in the same place every time.
Yeah, okay.
It's more about your choices and how you go about it as opposed to where things are. Where my Return to Moria kind of forces your hand a little bit because, like, I remember I was telling you that, like, I've come across a bunch now, but at the time I hadn't come across a single black diamond for ages, which meant
Yeah, that's right.
I couldn't activate any of the portals.
Yeah.
And then eventually got them, but whatever. But like in our playthrough, we were just like coming across them like they were candy.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I do like that it's different each playthrough. That's pretty cool.
100%. And so you know, it's typical. You know, build your bases. You build walls, doors, stairs, blah blah blah. Crafting benches, whatever. You know, somewhere to make food and stuff. You also have to factor in the darkness. So like if you don't have light around you, you start getting into a state called despair, which will actually start taking your life away. There's like part of the storyline is there's like the entrance to the mine is like closed by magic, and then you come across other doors that are closed by magic, and you got to try and figure it out. So it's kind of like you get so far and you go, oh, the door's closed by magic. Now I've got to go through this fucking hard part or whatever. You know, you've got to figure another way around it.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah,
there's
just
like
to make things even harder for you.
yeah, exactly. And then there's those like areas that are covered in like a purple shadow. And like if you go in those, you think, oh, I'll just quickly run in there and do a thing, come out. But no, you go in there and then you become, I can't remember the term, but something to do with shadowness. You get shadowness put upon you, and you start losing life and stuff as well. So far, we've only come across like orcs and goblins, a troll, and spiders.
Oh man, I shat myself when we saw that troll.
It was very scary, but ironically, I haven't seen a troll in my playthrough yet.
Really? Okay.
I was like, oh god, it's going to be here any second now, but no.
Oh well, I guess good.
Good, but you know, god damn it, like not god damn it, but I don't even know if the oh that's right. I remember reading somewhere now because you know trolls are affected by sunlight, so when you kill them, you don't get anything. But if you lure them into the sunlight, they turn to stone, and then you can mine something off them.
Ah, clever. I didn't
So
even
that's
think about that.
handy little early game trick for anyone listening.
Yeah.
Good thing for people listening too. We can't spoil too much about the game because we are not
Yeah.
that far through it.
No. No, we're definitely still getting through the game at the moment.
Yeah, it's got all your farming element, you know, all that kind of stuff that you can want. But then, so like, you know, you can build your swords, your axes, your bows, all that stuff. But then they have these things called master works. I think the game says there's 8 in total, but I've only come across 3, which is one's called the shield wall. You come across that like it's one of the first things you come across once you like get your first bit of iron ore or something like that. The next one I found is like a torch. So like you have a torch, you can make torches through the thing, but this particular torch never goes out. And even when you have it hanging off your back, it can still emit light, but it just emits more light when you're holding it. And the most recent one that I just unlocked in my gameplay was I can't remember the exact name of it, but basically it's the master pickaxe or something like. So it basically allows me to mine just about anything now. So I can get the gold and the precious gem. Well, precious gems you don't need that for, but the gold you need it for, and there was something else you needed it for. Because you remember how we came across the first age pickaxe, but we hadn't quite been able to build it yet.
Yeah.
So I came across the place where you get the wood that you need, which I'll explain to you off air because I don't want to give away too many spoilers.
Okay.
But I started using it, and then I unlocked the master one, and yeah, lets you do anything. But the thing is, right? So you get these master weapons. So you've got I think it's like 1 to 9. You've got 9 slots, maybe, or maybe it's 8 slots. Either way, in your inventory, so you press 1, 2, 3, whatever to get to it. When you equip a masterwork, it gets an extra slot of its own. Only a masterwork can go there, but you can only also hold one at a time. So in a way, it's kind of like almost like if you're playing with your friends, it's almost kind of like a class thing because like the shield wall, for example, you can hold the shield, but only the shield, but it's like really strong, powerful. So like you can say block an entranceway and then let your friends like shoot arrows over the top of you or something while they're trying to get through. The torch is awesome because it frees up like a slot in your normal thing, but then you don't have access to the whatever. And now that I've got the pickaxe, like it's good, but it's a two-handed weapon, so I can't hold a torch or anything while I'm using it. So you know what I mean? Like you've got to carefully pick. Like, are we exploring? Do we need a big shield? Do we just want to have a light that never goes out? Like,
okay.
You know what I mean? So if you're playing with a bunch of friends, you can be like, okay, one friend's going to do all the mining because he's got the awesome pickaxe. The other friend will hold the light. The third friend will have the shield wall so that, like, if we get overwhelmed with enemies, he can basically tank for us while we're taking everyone out. So I'm excited to see what the rest of the master weapons are because I'm trying not to look up guides or anything because I want some of the stuff to be a surprise, basically.
I guess like it's always good when you find something in a game that you had no idea about. Like that's way more exciting than like just being told about stuff before you play and then you're like, oh yeah, I found it. Cool.
100%. And like as someone who's like, to a degree, you can consider us game journalists or whatever. So to a degree, we should be keeping on top of this stuff. But at the same time, when it comes to a movie or a game that I'm really keen on, I often avoid trailers and sneak peeks and all that kind of stuff. Because especially with movies these days, there's nothing worse than watching a trailer for the movie and then it basically just giving away like most of the plot, and then you go, oh, for fuck's sake, like.
Or they show like the best part of the movie in the trailer, then you go and see the movie and you're like, wow, that was shit.
That's the more disappointing one, but I'd rather that than the giving. Like for example, in one of the Mission Impossible movies, Henry Cavill starts as a good guy, but in the trailer they show Tom Cruise fighting him. So it's like, okay.
So you can figure out just from the trailer what happens.
Yeah, at some point they're obviously going to fight each other.
Man.
Like, awesome. Like, yay, spoilerific.
Yeah, that's silly. But and also, I did not know that Henry Cavill's in a Mission Impossible movie.
Yes, I can't remember which one, but it's one of the more recent ones. Like,
okay.
Obviously, after all the Man of Steel stuff, like, because he was an actor obviously beforehand, but he was probably typecast a little bit, probably not seen as much of an action hero. And then, Superman and that comes out and it's like, oh, he can do action. So, oh, yeah, I guess we can cast him in a few things.
Yeah, no, he's yeah, I'm just trying to think of what would have been like came before Man of Steel, but I actually can't remember right now. So
yeah, I can't remember it. Like when it came out, when Man of Steel came out, I had no idea who he was. Up until about maybe 2005, I was down with like all the actors in the movies and stuff. But then you're working full time, you've got a family, all that kind of stuff, and you just kind of drop off, which is part of the reason why I want to watch all these movies, because there's so many movies over the years that I just haven't had the time to watch. And now that I've got a bit more free time up my hands, I'm like, why the fuck aren't I watching them,
Yeah, that's right. Why aren't you?
Apparently because I'm playing Return to Moria. That seems to be the answer at the moment.
I've actually I've just read something pretty cool about the team that made the game. So it says the team did extended research, held team book clubs, and consulted with Tolkien experts. And was there anything else after that? So yeah, they just pretty much set out to recreate a grounded, real-world setting of Middle-earth.
Yeah, I didn't know that specifically, but I was under the impression that the game is essentially canon, as in like it's not like some kind of side story that doesn't matter to the lore of the world.
No,
like,
they've actually put in the work to, make it sort of coincide with, everything like that's happened.
Yeah, 100%. It's good to hear that though, because I can't imagine how badly it would have done if it wasn't like up to standard.
True.
But the fact that they've actually put in the work is, decent. And speaking of putting in the work, apparently one of the reasons why Henry Cavill was kicked off the Witcher series is because he kept being like, hey, this isn't how, I've read the books, I've played the games, like, this doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah, I've actually heard that too.
He was so much of a nerd about it, though, like, we cannot handle you anymore. And I don't know if it's actually come out yet or not, but apparently Liam Hemsworth took over. And yes. I don't know. Like, I've only seen the first season anyway. I've been meaning to watch all of it. It was just...
dude.
It's just one of those shows where I loved it, waited for the next season, but by the time the next season came out, there was like some other show that I got hooked on,
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess like now that those 3 seasons are all out with Henry Cavill, when you get back to it, definitely do, because it is a good show.
I cannot imagine how, like, the first season was good enough, and apparently in the second and third seasons there's not as much like jumping back and forth through like timeline or whatever.
No, that's only the first season really, because then by the time the start of the second season happens, everything's caught up to date.
Yeah, right. That was the only thing that threw me in the first season, like, because I'm not like a huge Witcher fan. Like, I know enough, but it took me half the season to realize that there were like flashbacks or flash forwards or whatever.
Me too. Yeah, because it did not hold your hand with that at all.
No, there was no like, oh, present day, like 200 years ago or anything like that. It was just like, this is happening, and then all of a sudden he's somewhere else with someone else. I'm like, wasn't he just over there? Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I think it wasn't until it showed like how he became like the keeper or whatever it's called for Ciri that I realized that, hang on, that's like way in the past before she was even born. And then I'm like, oh, all these scenes with Jaskia are like in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Now I got to work out what was past and what's like present in the show.
100%. And like, I'm not claiming to like have figured it out earlier because I cannot remember, but I just remember at the point in which I figured it out, I was like, oh, okay, things are making a lot more sense now.
Yeah. But after that first season, that's pretty much stopped. You then just jump between different characters and what's happening to them at that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. once again, we've sidetracked. Is there anything about Return to Moria that has stood out to you more than other games that you've played lately, or like
Um,
off the top of my head, like I wouldn't say that it's like a game that breaks any kind of mold. Like it's almost a typical survival crafting game. It's just
yeah.
the gameplay, the graphics, and just the overall fun of playing it. Like I don't feel like I have to grind like I do in some other survival games. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and look, I that is nice. It's not too grindy. I find I get bored if it's too grindy.
mm,
Um,
that's what makes
yeah.
Valheim pretty good as well. Like it's a little grindy, but it's more grindy in the sense that you've got to go find where you can even find the materials, as opposed to like oh, we need 7,000 of this to make a thing. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
And my Return to Moria is similar in that sense. It's like it's not grindy that because we need to get 4,000 or whatever's. It's just like okay, we just unlocked a new recipe. It needs this item. Where do we find this item?
Yeah. So, you get to do all the fun exploring while you're trying to find stuff to make. So it's good that, yeah, it's pretty fun.
And it forces you to explore as well. Like as
Yeah.
much as I love playing Minecraft, my first however many hours is always spent just strip mining to get all the redstone and diamonds, everything I need to go to do actual exploring.
Yeah.
It's a bit better these days with all the updates. Like there's way more things to find and explore. But especially earlier on, it would be like, okay, I found my start area. Time to dig down.
Yeah. I'd find I wouldn't even get past the mining usually because that I would get bored of. And then I'd be like, I'll play something else. And then it'll take me like a year to come back to it.
Yeah, I don't like. I haven't played it for quite some time, and there's been a lot of huge updates in that time. So I'm definitely keen to give it a go. But I think the last time we
Yeah.
played it, we were convinced to play a mod version, which was fine. But sometimes I just like playing vanilla.
Yeah, I agree. And the mod version was fun at first, and then it just got way too technical and too hard. And I think you and I were both just sort of fucking around in the end and not actually doing the things we were supposed to be doing.
I think the nail in the coffin was when Bastion started throwing TNT off all the edges and destroying all my shit.
That's right. Yeah, and he was like, he had llamas hanging off the edge, and
That was funny.
that was funny.
But yeah, like Bastion gets very bored very quickly sometimes with certain games, and it was fun until he was destroying my shit
That man is just pure chaos.
and trying to get me to walk through his door trap.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm not walking through this door trap.
Yeah, good times.
But yeah, I don't know if you actually answered my question properly. Like, is there anything that stands out to you, or have I sort of already covered it, so to speak?
Look, you pretty much answered it yourself. It's the, like you said, it's not really standing out from any other survival game, but yeah, the gameplay and the graphics are awesome. I really like, the gameplay, especially and just, just how the mechanics are made for the game to move around and do things. It's nice and easy.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah.
One thing I have found that I don't like, though, is even when you're playing single player, if you pause it, it doesn't actually pause. So I had to get up and do something. So I paused it, did it, came back, and my character's just laying there dead on the ground, being like, do you want to revive? I'm like, God damn it.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, that does suck.
Like, I get it when it's online and when you're hosting, but when you're playing single player, you should be able to pause.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot more we can say specifically. Like there's things like when you build a camp and you spend a lot of time in the camp, like a horde will come and you have to defend it against the horde and stuff. The deeper you go in the mines, like the more noise you make, the more you attract like orcs and things like that. I don't know if there will be one, but I am not looking forward to fighting a Balrog at any point.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if there will be one. I guess it just depends if it is actually canon because, the Balrog's killed by Gandalf in the movies. So,
The thing with Balrogs is, and I don't know specifically, but like in the books or whatever, there's more than one Balrog, or like in the history, there's more than one Balrog. There's a bunch of them,
okay.
but I don't know if like that's the last Balrog by the time the Lord of the Rings event happens, the Third
Yeah.
Age or whatever. So in theory, there could be more Balrogs,
Okay. Yeah,
but
well,
again, don't know. Someone who's listening may have that answer, but if there is one, I am definitely not looking forward to it. I mean, I'm looking forward to it in the sense that it'll be cool, but I'm not looking forward to it in the sense that, like, the troll and the boss that I fought were hard enough.
hmm.
I don't. Yeah. Another good thing is so far, I haven't, like, with a lot of survival crafting games, you can kind of just, like, sit in an area and just build yourself up until you're sort of overpowered and then just go and mop the floor with everything. I,
Yeah.
I haven't come across any ability to do that just yet.
Yeah, true. Well, I guess, yeah, from what I've seen, like all of our places where we can sort of camp up, yeah, you can like build stuff, but I feel like we still get stuff spawning in, even with us trying to build walls and things like that.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's not even like that. That's definitely a very good point. But I'm also talking about the fact that, like, let's just say, remember how I told you in my solo playthrough, I was just kind of going through area by area and just like mining everything I could. But
yeah,
then, I was finding like, oh, I couldn't do this one thing or that one thing because I needed something that comes from the next area to be able to build this thing here to do. You know what I mean? So like every time,
yeah,
every time you think, oh yeah, I'm like getting a bit too powerful for my area, you come across something you need to get from a different area where you're like maybe just leveled enough for it, or maybe even a little bit under leveled, and like it's the way that the game forces you to play it is you unless you're happy to just like not build any of those things until whenever, you're constantly having to push yourself forward just a little bit so you can build the next thing, and then you can go back for a while and build up some whatever resources or weapons or whatever, but then you still have to push forward a little bit. There's never a point where you can just sort of hold up a base, just explore, find all the resources you need to build whatever you need. There's always something in another area further down the line that you have to like go find.
yeah, true. Yeah, and it keeps it challenging, I guess. Like you're not just going to get bored because you're, one-shotting everything as you sort of just walk through.
Yeah, I mean, like the first area, Westgate or whatever. It's like, yeah, I walk through there and I'm fine now. Like no issues whatsoever. I can almost punch them to death, but like
Nice.
that's another thing. There's no like leveling system, which I like. Like leveling, like yeah, I like games with leveling systems and shit, but it's just basically better armor, better weapons. Like that's your leveling. It's like finding
Yeah.
better ores and better materials to build better weapons and stuff like that. And I can't speak for everything so far, but the three main weapons that we've come across is like a spear, a, um,
A
a,
sword.
a sword. There is an axe, um, but I kind of call the axe and the maul kind of the same because like once you get the maul, it kind of replaces the axe. Or I don't know. My point just being is that every weapon works slightly differently in a way that makes you not be able to rely on just one weapon, or like at the very least, if you're gonna like if you're gonna focus on the spear, then it's good for me to have the maul because like the spear is fast and does some high piercing damage, but when armored enemies come in, the maul does less damage than the spear, but it does more damage than the spear does to armored enemies, if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
so like it's good to sort of have a mix. In my playthrough at the moment, I got rid of my bow and I'm carrying around a maul and a spear. So like when some of the weaker non-armored enemies are around, I'll spear them. Then I'll be like, oh shit, here come the big armored orcs. Switch over to the maul and like knock them down and stuff.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
it's a bit more area, is like it's a bit more of a swinging area weapon as well, where the spear is more like just whatever's right in front of you.
Yeah. Okay.
So I imagine I haven't used the sword at all yet, I don't think.
The
But
sword was tier 1 anyway. I think we're already past it. It was okay.
It was similar to the axe, I believe.
I think
in the
so.
way it works. I can't think of any benefits to using the axe just because the axe was also tier 1 that we had. And because remember we were going for ages using it, and then I realized that the spear was tier 2, and then we both got a spear and went down and just started annihilating everything.
Yeah, that's right. Because we're like, even like trying to fight things, we're like, why is this so hard? Like, just getting fucked up.
And not even just hard, but like it's taking so long to kill these creatures.
Yeah.
And then we went down there with the spears, the tier 2 spears, and it was like, oh, this thing that normally takes me like 10 hits to kill just took 3 hits. Like, amazing.
Yeah, so there I think was it 6 tiers in total, and that's for your armor and your weapons.
5 or 6, I can't quite remember. I did look it up, but one of them. 5 or 6. And you definitely have, it definitely pays to pay attention to what tier, because there's no like, as far as I've seen, there's no like stats. You can't be like, oh, this one does this much damage and whatever. It's just down to tiers. Like tier 2 will do more than tier 1, and tier 3 will do more than tier 2. And same with the armor. Like tier 2 armor will take more damage before it breaks than tier 1 armor, and etc.
Etc.
But what do you reckon? I've honestly run out of talking points for Return to Moria. It's a great game. I recommend everyone play it, but I cannot think of anything else to sort of talk about specifically with it without not even going into spoiler territory, but just kind of like talking about like the very basic, like, oh, you can build this and you can build that and you can build this thing, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much at the same pace, really. I think we've pretty much covered what we can. We definitely have more of the game to play. We haven't finished it yet.
So much more.
Yeah.
The one thing I will mention that I forgot, when you create the character, because it's very specifically mentioned in the movies and probably the novels, that it's very difficult to tell the difference between dwarf men and women. So you can like literally make women dwarfs with like beards and manly voices and vice versa and stuff. I found that like, not only is it very inclusive, but I found it very funny because it's very much in keeping with the lore of Middle Earth. That's like, yeah, you could be talking to a woman, you could be talking to a man, you don't know. All dwarves are kind of the same.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, I reckon we leave it there. I'm not sure what we will be talking about next week at this point. I'm sure we will have something because, I don't know, always have something to talk about.
Yes, you do.
I try not to. I try to be a good boy. It just doesn't always work. But yeah, let's leave it there. Let's say goodbye. Thanks to everyone for listening, and I hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next episode.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Perfect.